1. You will hear a woman calling a travel agency to inquire about holiday accommodations and packages. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 5.
Mediterranean holidays. How can I assist you?
Hello. I've heard great things about one of your holiday options from a friend who recently visited Crete. She stayed in some apartments in Agios Nicholas, and I was hoping they might be part of your listings.
Okay, Agios Nicholas. Let me check. Could you give me the names of the apartments?
Of course. The first one she mentioned is Seaview Villas. I'm planning a trip with my sister, and we'd like to go in mid-September.
Seaview Villas, yes. We have a charming one-bedroom apartment available for that period. It's very popular, especially for its rooftop pool and sunset views.
That sounds lovely. What's the cost per person?
It would be £235 each.
That seems reasonable. Let me jot that down. The second one she mentioned was Olive Grove Apartments.
Yes, we have those too. They're located near the coastline, offering easy beach access.
Anything unique about them?
Definitely. They feature a private olive garden where guests can relax, and there's a small spa on site.
How far are they from the town center?
Roughly 400 meters. Plus, there's a local market just a short walk away, perfect for fresh produce.
Sounds ideal. What's the price for this one?
At that time, it's £295 per person.
A bit more than the first one, but I'll keep it in mind. I have 2 more options to ask about. One is, I think it's called Sunny Ridge.
You mean Sunbeam Ridge. It's situated on a hillside with stunning views of the Aegean Sea.
Lovely. Any special facilities there?
Yes, every apartment has a private terrace, and there's a shared barbecue area. They also organize guided hiking tours in the nearby hills.
That's great. Is it family-friendly?
Absolutely. There's also a kids' playground on site.
And what about the cost?
It's £480 per person, with a minimum of 2 people required to book.
Oh, that might be out of our budget. How about the final option, something called the Aegean Pearl?
The Aegean Pearl is a classic property with vintage decor. It's surrounded by lush gardens, and every room comes with a balcony.
What are the views like?
You'll have a mix of garden and sea views. Plus, there's a small shopping plaza about 300 meters away, and a cafe with live music every evening.
What's the rate?
It's £340 per person in September, but if you travel in October, it drops by 30%.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Unfortunately, we can't delay our trip. I'll need to think about these options. Can I get a brochure with more details?
Certainly.
But no need to send it, I'll pick one up when I'm in your office next week. I just wanted an overview for now.
That's fine. We have plenty available when you stop by.
Before I go, can I check something about your travel insurance? I've been comparing policies.
Of course. What would you like to know?
For cancellations, the policy I have allows claims up to £7,000.
Ours goes up to £9,000, which is quite generous.
That's good. And what about medical emergencies?
We cover up to £700 for hospital bills and include an option for a relative to join you if necessary.
My current policy only offers assistance from a local representative.
That's a key difference. Do you have missed departure coverage?
No, my policy doesn't mention that.
Ours covers up to £900, depending on the circumstances. We also offer up to £2,800 for personal belongings, with a limit of £400 for any single item.
That's helpful. I'll avoid bringing my tablet then.
Good idea. Let me know if you'd like to proceed. My name is Liam Carter. That's Carter. You can reach me directly at 02038475621.
Got it. Thanks, Liam. You've been very helpful.
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2. You will hear a talk on local radio about a children's theme park. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 13. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 13.
For the next part of our series on unique family-run businesses, we are speaking with Michael Thornton, co-founder of the incredibly popular Hillbrook Adventure Park. Welcome, Michael. Let's start with how your park began.
Thanks. Back in the early 1980s, my wife, Emma, and I had just purchased 90 acres of woodland in the countryside. We originally planned to build a small cabin for weekend retreats, but after the birth of our twins, Claire and Matthew, things took a different direction. The kids were fascinated by outdoor activities, and over time, we ended up building a network of treehouses and rope bridges for them to play on. Then, in 1987, I visited an outdoor activity center near Sheffield and thought, why not create something even better ourselves? That's when the idea for Hillbrook Adventure Park was born. We opened our park to the public for the first time in July of 1988, which is usually the sunniest month in our region. We chose July to prevent guests from experiencing a wet visit. Back then, it was just a few tree houses and zip lines. I managed the business operations, while Emma focused on creating walking trails through the woods. Later, we realized we were onto something special. Over the years, we expanded the park by adding more attractions, such as climbing walls and nature observation points. We also planted native flowers to make the area more scenic, which brought in plenty of birds and butterflies. Today, Hillbrook Adventure Park is open year-round, welcoming over 45,000 visitors annually. Since our launch, nearly 1.3 million people have enjoyed the park, which is something we're very proud of.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 14 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
Running the park has truly become a family affair. Now that I'm nearing retirement, I primarily focus on maintaining the outdoor equipment, such as maintaining the adventure equipment. Emma has taken charge of managing the park staff. We have a team of 30 employees to ensure everything runs smoothly. Claire, after a few years of working abroad, has returned to oversee our cafe and picnic areas, which are incredibly popular with families. Matthew has been instrumental in leading our construction projects for the past 8 years. His wife, Sophie, recently joined the team to manage our gift shop, which has become one of the fastest growing areas of the business. People just love taking home souvenirs.
It sounds like there's a lot going on. Have you finished expanding the park?
Not yet. We're always working on new ideas to enhance the experience for our visitors. Our main feature is still the adventure trail, which now stretches over 1.5 kilometers, but we'd love to add more. Our biggest challenge is building rope bridges across certain sections of the forest, as the terrain can be tricky. We're also very excited about our latest addition, the outdoor skating rink. It's 150 square meters and designed for kids aged 6 to 14. The biggest attraction here is the glow skates, which light up in the dark. They're so popular that we sometimes have to enforce time limits to keep things fair. And finally, we've recently started work on a new butterfly garden that we hope to open next spring.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 2. Part 3. You will hear a conversation between a tutor and students about organizing and managing their group project effectively. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 25.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's start by reviewing your group project. You've chosen to research renewable energy solutions, correct?
Yes, we decided on that topic because it's relevant and has plenty of sources to explore.
That's a solid choice. Now, let's talk about how you've divided the responsibilities. Have you decided who will handle what?
We've split it up, but we're still finalizing some details. I'll focus on solar energy since it's a field I've studied before. I'll gather data on its efficiency and installation costs.
I'm covering wind energy, looking into how different locations affect performance. I'll also compare it to other renewable sources briefly, but my main focus will be wind.
Sounds good so far. And Alex?
I'm researching hydropower. I'll analyze its environmental impact and how it compares to solar and wind. But I'm not sure about the section on cost analysis.
That's an essential part of your project. Maybe Tom can assist you with that since he's already working on costs for solar energy.
Sure, I can help with that.
Great. Now, about your research sources. Where are you getting your information?
We're using a mix of academic journals, government websites, and reports from energy organizations.
I've also found some blogs, but I'm not sure if they're reliable.
Be cautious with blogs. Stick to verified sources, especially for statistics. Peer-reviewed journals and official reports are your best bet.
We've also found a documentary on renewable energy. Can we use that?
Documentaries can be useful, but ensure they're from reputable producers. Cross-check the information with other sources to confirm its accuracy.
That makes sense. We've also thought about including interviews with experts.
That's an excellent idea. Interviews can add unique insights, but keep them focused. Avoid overly broad questions that don't relate directly to your project.
Noted. What about our deadlines? We've divided the project into phases, but I'm worried about staying on track.
Deadlines are crucial. Set specific milestones for each phase. For example, aim to finish your research by the end of next week. Then dedicate a week to drafting your sections and another for reviewing and finalizing the report.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Should we include a case study in our project?
A case study would enhance your project, but only if it's well detailed and relevant. Don't choose one that's too broad or outdated.
We found a case study on a wind farm in Scotland. It looks promising, but has some older data.
If the data is outdated, you may want to find a more recent case or supplement it with updated statistics.
I can help with that since I'm looking at hydropower. I'll find recent examples for my section too.
Good plan. Now let's discuss your presentation. How will you structure it?
We were thinking of starting with an overview of renewable energy, then diving into each source: solar, wind, and hydropower.
I'll introduce wind energy, and Alex can follow with hydropower. Tom can wrap up with solar energy and the conclusion.
That's logical. But don't spend too much time on the introduction. Your audience will be more interested in the detailed sections.
Should we include visuals like charts and graphs?
Absolutely. Visuals make your data easier to understand. Just make sure they're clear and directly relevant to your points.
What about the word count? Is there a strict limit?
Aim for quality over quantity. Stick to the word count guidelines, but focus more on clarity and depth. A concise, well-organized report is better than a lengthy one filled with unnecessary details.
Should we rehearse the presentation together?
Definitely. Practice helps you refine your timing and ensures everyone knows their part. You'll also notice areas where you can improve.
What about feedback? Should we ask someone to review our draft?
That's an excellent idea. A fresh perspective can catch errors or highlight areas that need improvement. Ask someone who's familiar with the topic but not part of your group.
Got it. And about the conclusion, how should we summarize our findings?
Highlight your key points without repeating everything. Avoid additional examples to strengthen the conclusion. Emphasize the strengths of renewable energy and the role each source can play in a sustainable future. Keep it short and impactful.
This has been really helpful. We'll start refining our sections and set up a schedule.
That's the spirit. Remember, good teamwork and proper planning are key to a successful project. Let me know if you face any challenges.
That is the end of Part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 3. Part 4. You will hear a speaker explaining the evolution and impact of modern architecture through history and innovation. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 40.
Architecture has always reflected the needs, values, and aspirations of societies. From ancient temples to towering skyscrapers, buildings serve as more than shelters, they symbolize progress, culture, and innovation. Modern architecture, in particular, has transformed how people view and interact with spaces. Its clean lines, functional designs, and innovative use of materials represent a shift from the ornamental styles of the past. The roots of modern architecture can be traced back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries. During this time, rapid urbanization created a demand for buildings that were practical and efficient. Architects began to question traditional designs, opting instead for simplicity and functionality. Influenced by the Industrial Revolution, they explored the potential of new materials like steel, glass, and reinforced concrete. These materials allowed for higher structures and bigger windows, forever changing the skyline of cities. One of the most significant movements in modern architecture was the Bauhaus, founded in Germany in 1919. This school combined art, craft, and technology, emphasizing that form should follow function. Architects like Walter Gropius and Ludwig Mies van der Rohe became central figures in this movement. They believed in stripping away unnecessary decoration and creating designs that were practical yet beautiful. The Bauhaus influence spread globally, shaping the way buildings were designed in the 20th century. Another important figure was Le Corbusier, a Swiss-French architect who introduced new urban planning ideas. He believed that buildings should serve the needs of their occupants while also considering the environment. His designs featured open floor plans, flat roofs, and large windows to bring in natural light. Le Corbusier's concepts were revolutionary at the time and continue to inspire architects today. Modern architecture also reflected the social and political changes of the 20th century. After World War II, many cities were rebuilt with a focus on functionality and speed. Prefabricated materials and modular designs became popular, allowing for the rapid construction of housing and public buildings. This period saw the rise of the international style, which emphasized simplicity and uniformity. Buildings like the Seagram Building in New York City exemplify this approach with their sleek, geometric designs. As the 20th century progressed, modern architecture began to diversify. Architects started blending traditional elements with modern techniques, creating a style known as postmodernism. This movement rejected the strict rules of modernism and embraced creativity and individuality. Buildings became more colorful and expressive, with unique shapes and playful details. For example, the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, designed by Frank Gehry, is famous for its bold, unconventional design. Sustainability has also become a key focus in modern architecture. As concerns about climate change grow, architects are rethinking how buildings are designed and constructed. Green roofs, solar panels, and energy-efficient materials are now common features in modern buildings. Architects aim to create spaces that are not only functional but also environmentally responsible. The concept of smart buildings has also emerged, integrating technology to improve energy efficiency and comfort. One of the most exciting aspects of modern architecture is the use of innovative materials and techniques. Advances in engineering have made it possible to build structures that were once unimaginable. For example, skyscrapers like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai push the boundaries of height and design. New materials, such as carbon fiber and 3D printed concrete, are also opening up endless possibilities for architects. Modern architecture is not just about functionality and innovation, it also considers the emotional experience of those who use the space. Architects strive to create buildings that inspire and uplift people. Public spaces, such as museums and concert halls, are designed to foster connection and creativity. For example, the Sydney Opera House is not only an architectural marvel but also a cultural symbol that brings people together. Looking to the future, modern architecture is likely to continue evolving in response to new challenges and opportunities. Urbanization, population growth, and environmental concerns will shape the designs of tomorrow. Architects will need to balance tradition and innovation while addressing the needs of diverse communities. Technology will undoubtedly play a central role, with artificial intelligence and virtual reality offering new tools for design and construction. Modern architecture represents a dynamic blend of history, innovation, and vision. It has moved beyond mere practicality to become an art form that shapes how people live and interact. From its early roots in the Industrial Revolution to the cutting-edge designs of today, modern architecture reflects the ever-changing world around it. As architects continue to push boundaries and explore new...
That is the end of Part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 4.